2025 Campus Master Plan Update second public hearing. It's Wednesday, December 17th. It is 2 p.m. And with that, I would ask Ms. Fitzpatrick to do the roll call. Do it as best I can. This is the system I've got to work with. How about now? How about now? Okay. Ms. Fitzpatrick, please do the roll call.
Trustee Anderson?
Here.
Trustee Baldonado?
Here.
Trustee Bauerlein?
Here.
Trustee Harvey?
Here.
Trustee Jaco? Trustee Karp?
Here.
Trustee Kessler? Trustee Mackey?
Here.
Trustee Patterson?
Present.
Trustee Rufo? Trustee Spalding? Joining Chair Jinks?
Here.
And Vice Chair Castaldi. Quorum is present.
Thank you. I officially call this meeting to order. Ms. Fitzpatrick, please, you already called the roll, and I'm going to ask you to take the floor. I'm recognizing you as our Chief of Staff and CFO to begin our presentation on the Campus Master Plan update.
Just give me 1 minute.
Okay.
I'm gonna have to sit here. I don't have a clicker. Sorry.
Okay.
Sorry about that. I'll have to sit from.
Yeah, so let's see if we can hear the speaker. Can you do a sound test?
Test.
Testing.
Test.
Testing.
Okay, what about people here? Can you hear the speaker? Okay, got a nod of heads, yes? Okay, please introduce yourself. The floor is yours. Oh, Christy's first.
Sorry
Okay.
about that.
Yes.
I don't have a clicker, so I'll have to sit here. So good afternoon, trustees. Thank you for having us again with the Campus Master Plan. This is our second hearing for the Campus Master Plan update. This afternoon, we are going to go through, and we've kind of hit on this in a couple of different meetings, but our timeline that we've gone through for the past couple of years for the Campus Master Plan. I just wanted to hit on those couple of pieces just to remind everybody on the different opportunities that we've met on in the past. Some of these starting with the New College Challenge that we had started back in May 2022, and meeting several different times leading into the first board hearing that we had back July 22nd, where this board heard the actual master plan that we had been working on and collaborative sessions the last several years, and had a few more informational sessions after that point, and then went right into the 90-day review, which was held from August 18th through November 16th. And then here we are today with having our second public hearing before you. And the meeting materials were all posted and sent out to you several a week and a half ago, I guess, at this point. And those are, you can review those obviously within the packet, but we'll go through a couple of items. So I want to introduce our legal counsel, Bill Clegg. He will go over a few items for us this afternoon as well, and then we'll turn it over to Glenn Darling with Hall Darling and Associates. So,
Thank you, Ms. Fitzpatrick. For the record, I am William Clegg with the law firm of Grimes Galvano, and I'm serving as land use counsel to the college in the process of updating the campus master plan. And I want to make just a few general points about the legal framework of this process before turning it over to Mr. Darling. And as I'd said in the first public hearing, this is a statutory process. It's governed by Florida Statute 1013.30, and there's a slide up there on the screen now that shows the elements required and the standard under that statute and the implementing regulations, which is that the plan must be not in conflict with the state comprehensive plan and the two applicable local government comprehensive plans. There is, of course, a process for multiple public hearings, a 90-day agency review period, which we're now through, which also allows for public comment during that same 90-day period. And then a second public hearing, which is where we are today, after which, if it is so inclined, the board can adopt the 2025 Campus Master Plan update. At the last hearing, you received a presentation that provided an overview of the plan update and all of the different elements and basically what it's seeking to accomplish. We're not going to repeat that presentation today unless somebody on the board requests it. But what we will do is we will walk through the comments received from the agencies and the changes that have been made to the plan update since the last public hearing. So it's clear for the record and for the Board of Trustees what has changed since the last time you looked at this. I should also mention that there have been multiple supporting documents added to the record. Those include the business plan of the college, which importantly has the enrollment projections for the college, which are a big part of the reason for the changes to the plan through the update, the additional development that can take place under the update. There's also an educational plant survey, which also sort of inventories all of the different aspects of the college's needs in the future, and very importantly, a level of service study that analyzes the potential impacts of development under the master plan once it's updated. Finally, there's also an evaluation and appraisal report, which you received in your agenda materials. I've seen some public comments suggesting that that's a requirement to update your master plan. That's not really how the law and the regulations work. There is an obligation to go through an EAR process periodically, but it's not a precondition to updating your master plan. You can do that in an EAR process or outside of an EAR process, just as local governments can and frequently do update their comprehensive plans outside of their EAR process. But in any case, those are in the record now. So that's basically, in a nutshell, the statutory framework. There are a couple of other important points that I'd like the Board of Trustees to consider to put this in context as you're going through the hearing and your decision. And the first is that a campus master plan is a long-range plan for your campus. So you're looking out a minimum of 10 years at all the potential ranges of development and things that could happen on your campus. It sets goals, objectives, and policies, and it provides information about how things can and will work under that plan. But it is conceptual and it is aspirational because it's a long-range plan. It does not determine every small detail of development. It's not possible for a long-range plan to do that, just as it's not possible for a state comprehensive plan or a local comprehensive plan to do that. It shows you how things could work conceptually and what's allowed there. But as individual sites come through for development, the details are worked out at that stage. You simply can't design your whole campus to a build-ready stage for a 10-year period of development at this point, nor are you expected to under Florida statutes. It also allows for flexibility and changes in circumstances as things happen over the life of your campus. It's a fluid document. Again, it's a long-range plan. It's not a final site plan. It's not an architectural design. It's not a blueprint. Finally, it's not a title document. It does not determine who owns what land under the master plan, nor is it required to. It has to be consistent with state and local comprehensive plans, but it doesn't determine who owns what and when. In fact, the Florida statute allows you to include in it lands you own, lands you lease, and lands you may seek to own someday, but do not own yet, because it contemplates a flexible and fluid process for future growth and development. Board members, the last point I'd like to make is this is an update to an existing plan. It's not the complete scrapping of an old plan and replacing it with a completely new plan. And I have seen some comments, particularly references to the statute and regulations, that appear to come from the angle of let's treat this as though it's a whole new plan and require the college to meet the standard if you were starting from nothing. But that's not the law. That's not how it works here or in the other universities who routinely have to do this. You're required to do it. You were required to do it every 5 years. The legislature recently relaxed that to every 10 years in the last session. So basically, you're doing this by way of an amendment, and the statute tells us which sections of the statute apply when you're amending your plan as opposed to adopting a new one. And I do feel strongly that from a legal standpoint, we have done that. We have looked carefully at what's happening on other campuses around the state with this same process, and we've made every effort to follow best practices and to explain the changes that are being made and the reasons for them, and providing the data and support for those changes. So unless you have any questions, I will turn the discussion over to Mr. Darling to cover the balance of the presentation. All yours.
Thank you. Seems to work. For the record, my name is Glenn Darling. I'm an architect at Hall Darling Design Studio. As Bill mentioned, I am at the last presentation, at the last hearing, we kind of went through the master plan and described kind of the general scope of it. Today, I'm going to go through the comments from the agency review and just describe how we addressed those comments. Starting with Florida State University, I'm just going to read the comment and then read what the change is. And then after I go through these comments, I'm going to go through the different maps on which we made the changes. So some of that will be a little bit repetitive. From Florida State University, proposed pedestrian trail from the west campus to the south campus raises serious concerns about security on the Ringling campus. So our response, the proposed pedestrian route through Ringling property was removed, with north and south circulation redirected to public sidewalks along Bayshore Road to address campus security concerns. Comment from Florida Commerce. The comment states that the proposed master plan update is incomplete because it lacks the required 10-year planning horizon, enrollment projections, and infrastructure needs analysis, and therefore does not meet the data and analysis requirements of a section from the Florida statutes. Our response, the master plan was revised to reflect the required 10-year planning horizon with updated enrollment projections, phasing, and supporting infrastructure analysis. From Sarasota County, their first comment, the proposed plan shifts the upland preserve area from passive preservation to active recreation without enough detail for neighbors to assess potential impacts. Our response, the master plan clarified that the recreation area near the uplands neighborhood is intended solely for low-intensity informal use, serving as a shared space for students and upland residents. No competitive events will occur there after phase 2, as all such activities will be relocated to the east campus at that time. The second comment, clarifications on the plan's incorrect depiction of a non-existent connection to Upland Boulevard, and states that any proposed new construction must be clearly shown and coordinated with Sarasota County and the Uplands neighborhood. Our response, the master plan was revised to clarify that the connection to Uplands Boulevard is not a vehicular roadway, but a pedestrian-only and emergency access path. Plan graphics were updated to clearly label this limited access, and the narrative now confirms there will be no general vehicular traffic or campus access through the Uplands neighborhood. Any permitting will be coordinated with Sarasota County as required. Comments from the city of Sarasota. Comment 1. planned dormitories on 58. Oh, I apologize. Oh, did it? Okay. Sorry, I cannot read the red, so I'm reading from my. Yeah, it's. But I am reading exactly what's up there. City of Sarasota, comment 1. The planned dormitories on 58th Street conflict with the area's single-family, very low density and land use designation. And New College must either secure a flume amendment, that's the future land use amendment, or acquire all affected single-family parcels for the dorms to be allowed. Our response: the master plan clarified New College of Florida will obtain the required future land use map amendment for the 58th Street parcels before any dormitory construction, ensuring consistency with the city's land use designation. No development will occur until the amendment is approved. Second comment from the City of Sarasota. The plan inaccurately shows Upland Boulevard as a part of the campus and incorrectly depicts an existing connection from North Shore Drive, and we think they meant College Drive here, to Uplands Boulevard. That does not actually exist. Our response: the existing conditions map was corrected, this was a graphic error, to reflect accurate roadway ownership and connections by removing Uplands Boulevard from the campus boundary and eliminating the incorrect College Drive connections. City of Sarasota comment 3. Requests that any future vehicular or pedestrian connections to Upland Boulevard be clearly shown in the plan, coordinated with the Uplands neighborhood in Sarasota County, and recognized as requiring county permitting. Our response: the master plan was updated to clarify that the Uplands access route is limited to pedestrian and emergency use only, with no general vehicular access. Plan graphics were revised to reflect this, and coordination with Sarasota County will occur for required permits. Comment 4. Once the master plan is adopted, New College must submit a campus development agreement with a full level of service analysis for city review before it can be approved. New College will submit a formal campus development agreement after master plan adoption, including a required level of service analysis. The materials will be reviewed and approved through the city's development review committee. City of Sarasota comment 5. Revisions for intergovernmental coordination, additions and deletions, pages 139 through 150, topics 1 through 13. Since the last master plan, some of the intergovernmental agency names have changed, and others were requested to be added. So those corrections, we followed through on those corrections. Let's go to Manatee County comments. First comment, neighborhood outreach. The county asked whether nearby neighborhoods have been consulted about potential noise and traffic from North Campus event uses. New College is committed to maintaining positive relationships with surrounding neighborhoods and ensuring that proposed North Campus uses do not create unanticipated disturbances. As a part of the ongoing planning process, the college will conduct outreach with nearby neighborhoods to share information about potential event-related uses. Comment 2, land use compliance. Proposed North Campus building conflicts with the ROS land use category, which allows only minimal intensity and schools only when tied to a public park. Our response, the land use category for the North Campus in the master plan will be amended if needed in the site development phase. Comment 3 from Manatee County, use agreement violation. The proposed building sits within legally required green space where only passive recreation is permitted. Our response, the proposed North Campus building was relocated outside the protected green space area to fully comply with the 2024 use agreement and preserve shoreline and seagrass buffers. Comment 4 from Manatee County. The master plan does not address conservation or mitigation for the North Campus, despite its location in multiple environmental and historic overlay districts. The plan now acknowledges, our response, the plan now acknowledges applicable environmental and historic overlays on the North Campus and commits to coastal standards, hazard mitigation, and archaeological protections that will be addressed in the North Campus development planning phase. Comment 5, coastal regulations. County requests clarifications on how coastal overlay district standards will be met. A response, New College will ensure compliance with Manatee County Coastal Overlay District standards by incorporating the required measures into the North Campus development planning phase of the project. Comment 6, transportation. The plan lacks a strategy for circulation, multimodal access, and event-related traffic for the North Campus. The master plan, our response, the master plan was updated to include North Campus within the overall circulation system, incorporating pedestrian, multimodal, and limited vehicular access strategies. Manatee County, comment 7. Access concerns. Seagate Drive is the only access point and may be overburdened. Pedestrian connectivity and required trail extensions need clarifications. Again, our response, New College is committed to coordinating with the county and adjacent institutions, completing traffic analysis and implementing event and traffic management measures as needed in the North Campus development planning phase. I think the last two comments from Manatee County. The county requests clarification that the master plan will provide a publicly accessible pedestrian connection across Crosley Estates, including extension of the multi-purpose trail to connect the North and West Campus as required by the use agreement. Our response, the plan was updated to illustrate a publicly accessible pedestrian trail connecting to the West Campus to the North Campus, consistent with the use agreement requirements. Comment 9. Environmental regulations. County requests calculations for open space reduction thresholds, required wildlife species surveys, and more specific habitat protection policies in the master plan. Our response, the master plan has added open space tracking metrics, required listed species surveys by qualified biologists, and revised policies to strengthen habitat and species protection. That concludes the agency responses. What we wanted to do is go through the maps that we presented at the last meeting and just show specifically how these changes have manifest on the maps. So you'll be seeing a lot of the changes more than once. So this is on the future land use map. The City of Sarasota comment number 2, this updates the North and West Campus boundaries to reflect the actual ownership on both new and existing maps. So this was the graphic error that was connected about the property boundary. On the left side of the screen, we're showing again updates to the boundary. And on the right side of the screen, we're showing the Freedom Institute and Contemplative Center have been moved out of the green space that was illustrated in the use agreement with Manatee County, and showing the Upland Access Road, also that's that lower circle there. That's where we clarified that was a non-vehicular path, but meant for pedestrians and emergency use only. And then there we also shifted the center circle on the right-hand side. We shifted the performance platform south to try to increase a little the separation from the Uplands neighborhood, and moved the adjacent pedestrian path north. All of the changes that I just talked about are those that are listed on the right-hand side of the screen. The left-hand side of the screen, the chart talks about the different phases, phase 1, 2, and 3 of the master plan. And this has just been updated to illustrate that This Phase 3 goes all the way through 2035, and that meets the 10-year requirement. Again, this is the land use map, and again, we've just illustrated the shifting of the Freedom Institute and Educational Contemplative Center, the correction of the boundaries, and the adjustment of the performance platform, and also the again, the connection from College Drive to Uplands Boulevard being pedestrian, not vehicular. On the land use map, again, these are really all of the same corrections that we've just spoken of. And again, I think that lower version shows specifically where on the North Campus that green space was and how we have moved the buildings behind it. The potential buildings. And this is the core infrastructure and the stormwater system. I think one of the concerns was the existing Uplands neighborhood. There's a stormwater corridor that runs through the Uplands, and it wasn't clear where that was located, so we just provided clarity on where that existing stormwater corridor is located and that it is to remain. And this is an update as we shifted the Freedom Institute and the Contemplative Center to the east. There was an adjustment with potable water. So this is just reflected here. Again, this is on the transportation and parking. So again, it is the main change on this one was clarifying the connection between College Drive and Uplands Boulevard that is not meant for vehicular traffic. And that concludes the adjustments that we've made to the maps and the responses to the various agencies.
Thank you very much, Mr. Darling. First in the room, do we have any trustees with any questions? Seeing, yes,
was there any comment or concern expressed through the agencies that that New College simply ignored or rejected as incorrect or inappropriate in any way?
I'm sorry, was there any comment that
We have you have a summary of the comments. I'm just saying, was there any comment or concern expressed by any of the agencies that New College deemed incorrect or simply off?
I don't believe so, not in substance. Okay. Bill might.
Similar question. Well, as I hear you go through these comments and your corrections, it seems to me that we have actually addressed all those corrections. That is, there aren't any ongoing controversies with these agencies. We seem to have done things which I would think would be to their satisfaction.
Generally, yes. A lot of the comments were related to things that are not shown in the master plan that would be the appropriate time to address them is in the planning phase for individual projects that would occur in development of those projects.
And
let me ask you a slightly different thing. At this point, do any of the agency questions raise any continuing concerns?
I'm going to have Mr. Clegg answer that.
Thank you, Madam Chair, members of the board. Again, William Clegg with Grimes Galvano. I think we're in a good place with the state and local agency comments. It should be said, what we've presented here are the things that they raised as concerns, but we also received a statement from the city of Sarasota that they feel that our master plan update is consistent with the city comprehensive plan, which is important because the vast majority of the campus is within the city's jurisdiction. With Manatee County, we've addressed their concern by handling the issue the same way we handled it within the city, which is when development comes forward, if we need to seek a future land use amendment for the residential lots that we are acquiring and for the college, we will do so at that time. So from my standpoint, I don't believe we have any controversies with the agencies. I think it's worthwhile to say also, and I hope I don't put you on the spot here, Ms. Fitzpatrick, but you did speak with a representative of the Board of Governors as well. And my understanding is they're also comfortable with what we're doing in our campus master plan update. Is that correct?
Yes.
All right.
Sorry, did I understand you correctly? Say there's a letter from the city of Sarasota saying this is consistent with their city master plan?
Their city comprehensive plan, yes.
Has that letter been made? I think we might want to have that reflected.
It's part of the record. It is part of the record along with all of the other comments received.
Great, thank you.
Okay, any other trustee questions on Zoom, in the room? Okay, well, now we're, I'm sorry, Trustee Kessler, go ahead.
Yes, sorry.
Please speak up into your mic if you can.
I don't have a mic. I don't have a visible mic. How are relations with the Sarasota Manatee Airport going, and what effects, where are we on the East Campus in relation to the airport?
Okay. Trustee Kessler, President Corcoran said he will update you on that information during the President's report when we move into the full board meeting or the board meeting of trustees after this meeting. Okay. Seeing no other further questions, thank you, gentlemen. We're now going to move into the public comment portion of our meeting. Attendees were able to register to speak this afternoon when they arrived. So we will take all the public commenters in the room first who signed up upon arrival, and then move on to anyone that's attending this meeting by Zoom who would like to speak. Each commenter will have 2 minutes to speak on the campus master plan update. Ms. Fitzpatrick will call your name. You will come to the podium to speak, and at the end of the 2-minute period, you will be remuted, and the next person who signed up to speak can speak. After that, we will move to any virtual attendees who wish to speak. Ms. Fitzpatrick, can you call the names of those who wish to speak?
First up this afternoon, we have Rodrigo Diaz, followed by Lillian Rod, and then Karen Stack.
Mr. President, the June 26 draft of the Campus Master Plan contained 6 references to the creation of a pedestrian walkway to link the Caples Mansion to Cook Hall by crossing the bayfront of the Ringling Museum. On November 17th, Florida State University, which manages the Ringling, sent a letter to New College that raised, quote, serious security concerns about the proposed walkway. New College published a reply that states the walkway has been removed from the plan. However, as of 1:30 this afternoon, the published December 8th version of the Campus Master Plan still contained the 6 references to the walkway that were in the June 26th version. The walkway also appears in the New College Educational Plant Survey and the New College Evaluation and Appraisal Report. Does New College intend to create a pedestrian walkway across the Ringling Museum bayfront? Yes or no? John O'Miller, who will speak this afternoon, informed me that this is not the first time a New College campus master plan has included references to a pedestrian walkway across the Ringling bayfront to connect Caples and Cook Hall. However, it is the first time such a proposal has been made in the wake of a failed attempt to transfer control of the Ringling from FSU to New College. Clearly, FSU is concerned, and at a minimum, the intentions of the college toward the museum's property should be made clear. Also, Mr. President, I respectfully ask that you declare here today that you will preserve the entirety of the mango grove that was planted on the West Campus as a memorial to New College student Kit Riley, who died in a hiking accident in 2003 while trying to save the life of a fellow hiker. Thank you.
Next up, Lillian Rod, Karen Stack, and then we have Judy Burns.
Hello, my name is Lillian Rod and I'm an Uplands resident. I want to acknowledge the efforts that went into the redlined December 2025 master plan. That version reflected meaningful considerations of the Uplands neighborhood's concerns. Before I provide context, I want to be very clear about our requests to the trustees. We are asking that the master plan explicitly retains language designating the Uplands Preserve for passive recreation only, that organized sports practices and competitive use cease immediately within the preserve, and that the area already cleared for the temporary field be remediated and restored to its original natural condition. The 7 acres Uplands Preserve was donated to New College in the early 1960s with explicit expectations that it remains in a natural state. That intent was reaffirmed in both the 2005 Memorandum of Understanding and the 2016 Campus Master Plan, which designated the preserve for passive, low-impact use. The redlined December 2021 version clearly reflects these long-standing commitments. However, the final version now before you removes that protective language. Significant harm has already occurred. More than 130 mature trees were removed from over 2 acres of the preserve for temporary soccer field without any community notice or collaboration. That damage must be addressed through remediation. I want to thank Sarasota County, Manatee County, and City of Sarasota for taking these concerns seriously and elevating them formally. We respectfully ask the trustees to do the same. The master plan process exists to guide decisions before irreversible actions are taken. This is an opportunity to reaffirm stewardship, restore trust, and honor the intent behind the gift that cannot be replaced. Thank you. I just want to, I know my 2 minutes is up, but what you guys have had in voting today doesn't have those wonderful red comments actually in the plan. So you have 2 different versions in the center. One is red line, which was just
Next person is Karen Stack, Judy Burns, and then Ruth Follett.
My friend Donna and I went door to door asking our neighbors to weigh in on the plan to connect New College to Uplands Boulevard. The overwhelming consensus is clear. The Uplands does not support your plan to open up Uplands Boulevard to New College. Page 89 describes this planned access as Type 1 walkway, which function is to, and I quote, connect primary campus destinations, serve principal buildings and destinations, and coordinate service emergency access. This effectively begins your penetration into the Uplands community. We have to assume that controlled service access means essential services are authorized to utilize vehicles to access Uplands Boulevard. The use of the expression controlled emergency access is also troubling. It is not defined in your plan. Clearly, if there's an emergency on the sports field, a fire on the preserve, emergency vehicles will take the shortest, least circuitous route. This was tested a few weeks ago when, unbeknownst to the college, fireworks were set off on the bayfront and New College police came tearing through our neighborhood in response to the sound of explosions. And by the way, you already have your police vehicles parked at the entrance to the Uplands. Now, speaking of emergencies, couldn't access to a large event at the Freedom Institute be deemed an emergency? Currently, there are no published plans to open the north terminus of Uplands Boulevard. However, if you were to extend it in a straight line, it would precisely align with the entrance to the Freedom Institute parking lot. It leads me to ask myself, is this really a coincidence? If you have no intention of connecting the roads, say so in your plan. However, if you allow this to happen, Uplands Boulevard will become a throughway connecting the north and west campuses, irreparably damaging the character of our neighborhood. Final quote, if you want me to speak for 2 minutes, it will take me 3 weeks of preparation. If you want me to speak for an hour, I'm ready now. Winston Churchill.
Judy Burns, then Ruth Follett, and then Kathleen Cody.
Good afternoon, Judy Burns, Uplands resident, and I just support my fellow neighbors here in what they said. 2 years and 5 months ago, I first met with President Corcoran about proposed campus changes and their impacts on the Uplands. Our goal has always been collaboration. New College is a property owner in our subdivision, and we have a history of being good neighbors. Uplands neighbors have made a consistent request: include us as full participants in the official master planning process. That has not happened. My comments today address a flawed public process. Even today, I see these redlined comments that I've never seen before, and I did go through that redlined version. As recently as 2 days ago, we were still asking how to make public comments and which version of the master plan the board is voting on. We were told that the public may comment on a redlined version while the board will vote on a clean version, even though they are not identical. How is this defensible? While the master plan promotes 7 big ideas, admirable, I want to note the 7 deadly sins of this process, failures that fall squarely within this board's oversight. 1, primary stakeholders were excluded from the official planning process. 2, public notice of hearings was inadequate. 3, materials were released too late for meaningful review. 4, public hearings were structured in ways that limited public comment. 5, the board is being asked to vote on a different version from the one we are commenting on. 6, ignoring binding requirements in the 2005 Memorandum of Understanding and 2016 Master Plan. And 7, the plan proceeds despite unresolved land use conflicts, ignoring a Board of Governors regulation. Who on this board is responsible for meaningful public participation and oversight? It's not optional. This is a failure of public accountability. I oppose this flawed process. My recommendation is that the master plan process begin again, and the Uplands is part of the full planning process.
Ruth Follett, Kathleen Cody, and then Scott Perry.
We can agree that student health is of paramount importance, right? Yet, from the lens of student health, the worst placement for athletic fields is on East Campus, closest to the airport. Studies find high concentration of a very toxic pollutant near airports, ultrafine particles. UFPs from jets and small planes are problematic because their tiny size are absorbed deeply in the lungs, then enter the bloodstream, damaging lungs, hearts, brains, and other organs. Small planes, many which use leaded gas, emit toxic lead into the air, which can be inhaled or settle onto soil, which can be kicked up for years. Inhaling lead elevates lead blood levels and can cause learning problems. The local facts: at SRQ, 70% of aircraft are private planes and 20% are commercial jets. So there's likely a mix of UFPs and leaded particles. The airport is growing. More flights, more UFPs and lead. September through January, the prevailing wind is from the north and east. East Campus is directly downwind from the airport. The closer to the airports, the higher the concentration. All East Campus athletic fields are less than half a mile from runways. The soccer lacrosse field is 1,500 feet away. Imagine what mighty Banyan athletes running and breathing deeply during practice and at games for several hours, day after day after day, will inhale. Was proximity to the airport addressed when planning athletics on East Campus? Did you test for UFPs, which is not part of the standard air quality index reports? Lead soil testing? If so, tell us the results. If not, you have a lot more work to do.
Next up, Kathleen Cody, Scott Perry, then John O'Miller.
As we're all aware, this is a sham meeting only being held because it is legally required by the state. As usual for these meetings, information is provided to us at the last minute, and the changes are not given to the people. I find it ridiculous and insulting that public comment is limited to 2 minutes to address a document that is over 200 pages. Thank you.
Next up, Scott Perry, then Don O'Miller, then Lori Stryker.
The new College Master Plan includes designs for the development of the North Campus, which is adjacent to the University of South Florida, Sarasota, Manatee, where I have been a professor for 18 years. Therefore, I am a member of this community, but also your neighbor. Moreover, I am a professional academic in the State University System of Florida, and because I am vice president of the entire USF Faculty Senate, I am a member of the Advisory Council of Faculty Senates that advises the Board of Governors, a group to which Dr. Harvey also belongs. However, I am speaking today solely in my capacity as a citizen and as a neighbor, and not as a representative of USF or any of its components. In 3 years, this board and this president have turned a once renowned institution into a national embarrassment and a disgrace to academics everywhere. A small sample of the well-deserved and uniformly negative media coverage New College has garnered would include many items, but in this year alone, the invitation of a man charged with multiple counts of sexual assault to the Socratic stage, the revelation by the state Doge report of this board's egregious and unparalleled wasteful spending,
Mr.
and
Speaker,
the denial of
Mr.
emeritus
Speaker,
status. I'm
asking
yes.
you to stop. Your comments are to be directed to the master plan update, please.
Yes,
That's
I'm there.
okay. Please get to that part.
And now there is a
Thank you.
proposal to reward this grossly incompetent and scandal-ridden leadership with the property, facilities, and prestige of my campus to add to your North Campus. So it is part of the master plan. It is outrageous that anyone would contemplate throwing good money, our money, after very bad money in such a way. I urge this community and anyone who cares about the reputation and the integrity of higher education in Florida and anywhere else to stand firmly against this master plan and any other such plan emanating from this board. Thank you.
John O'Miller, then Lori Stryker, and then Aaron Diedrich.
John O'Miller for NCF Freedom. For a third of a century, I was in a professional capacity at the college in a position that included working on master plan issues. So I thought it might be helpful to reflect on the draft campus master plan. I sent essays to the college administration and asked them to be forwarded to you, the Board of Trustees, on July 18th, 20th, 21st, and 26th, and another on August 11th, when I also asked if the college could confirm that the previous essays had been sent to the trustees. I never received an answer. On November 17th, I submitted a 150-page master plan critique that included those first essays as well as 8 more, and those were posted to the college's master plan webpage. But I doubt if any of you read those because unlike other entries, you cannot simply click on a hyperlink to access the report. I also noticed that the names and contact information for people submitting comments have been redacted, which is odd for a public record, and it means if you saw a comment that you thought was interesting, you had no way of getting in touch with the submitter. And then on December 24th, I wrote to the college with a list of 10 remaining problems and specifically asked that those be forwarded to the trustees, and apparently they were not. Instead, they also went to the big online spreadsheet. So if anything on the board that Ms. Fitzpatrick has, any of the points that I've submitted seem unfamiliar to you, you might want to ask the administration why it has done so much to keep you trustees from receiving direct communication from campus stakeholders. I would think, as a matter of principle, that you would want to review the entire record before voting on this. And I just want to add, the last EAR report was done in 2013. The EAR is supposed to inform, it's supposed to review what worked and what didn't work in the previous plan, or the current plan, and use that as a basis for moving forward. To issue an EAR dated December 17th really is problematic. Thank you.
Next up, we have Lori Stryker, Aaron Diedrich, and then Stephen Spillman.
Good afternoon. I'm Lori Stryker, and I'm a longtime community education supporter and former USF Sarasota Manatee campus president. I led the development of the Cross College Alliance to bring our 17,000 students from Ringling, SCF, NCF, USFSM, and Ringling Museum together to share courses, connect students, and identify ways to improve efficiency and operations across the campus. I'm still involved in programs that support students from all these colleges. Today I'm speaking for dozens of former and current USF supporters about the New College Master Plan. I'm joined today with campus board member and former chair and business leader Ernie Withers. The plan mentioned at a number of NCF board meetings is to evict our 2,000 local students, 300 faculty, and staff in exchange for the property and facilities. The campus and dorm donors, legislators, student fees, and employers built this campus over the past 25 years. But the governor has now formally proposed this plan to take over the campus that's belonged to USF all this time. We support New College's goals to grow enrollment and add sports field. You argue that new land and facilities are needed, but you are asking our employers and community to sacrifice the campus that offers 40 accredited undergraduate programs. And this is a trade that is too costly for our community. I think the community can come up with better solutions, and I hope we will.
Next up, Aaron Diedrich, followed by Steven Spillman, and then Don Popovich.
Hello, I'm a Manatee County resident of 11 years now. My children grew up in the Uplands Preserve and along the bayfront. I watched the destruction of 138 trees on the Uplands Preserve, which was pretty heartbreaking. And the prospect of further tree removal on the 9 acres donated by Manatee County in 2024 is deeply troubling. My comment addresses the Manatee County officially designation, this parcel of my opposition of New College proposal to use it. Manatee County Development Services made this clear in their November 17th comment. The 9 acres are designated major recreation open space. The land is intended for recreation and the preservation of culture and environmental amenities with minimal density and intensity. 125,000 square foot Freedom Institute and 300 car space parking lot does not fit this designation. Despite this, the Uplands Master Plan still places the Freedom Institute and the parking lot on the same 9 acres. They just simply moved it east. The location remains major recreation open space, meaning the New College is not complying with the county future land use plan. I respectfully urge New College to abandon plans for the Freedom Institute and the parking lot of this parcel. Honor the land use designation and formally include Uplands and the Bellantine Manor neighbors in the planning process. Thank you very much.
Next up, Steven Spillman, Don Popovich, followed by Zita Connor.
Good afternoon. My name is Steven Spielman, and I'm a resident of the Uplands neighborhood and a New College alumni. I'm aligned with my neighbors and share the sentiments recently shared by Benjamin Brown of the Herald Tribune. Rules and residents have been ignored when pushing this plan forward. I oppose this plan and will focus on recreation and open space in the Uplands Bayfront area. This land is designated for passive recreational use only. That's in the Memorandum of Understanding, and it's reaffirmed in the latest master plan, which now clearly identifies this area as a natural preserve meant for low-intensity use shared by neighbors and students. Yet despite that, 138 trees were removed and the historic Edith Ringling Wall was destroyed to create a temporary athletic practice field. That damage was unnecessary. The plan itself says no competitive events will be held here after Phase 2, and athletics are supposed to move to the East Campus, land that has not even been approved for sale by the airport. In the meantime, this quiet residential neighborhood is expected to live with years more of noise, lights, amplified sound, and temporary bathrooms. Adding to that, serious flooding that occurred during the 2024 hurricane season, which required ongoing taxpayer costs to maintain the field in a flood preserve area. Passive recreation means just that, passive. This plan contradicts prior agreements, has harmed the habitat, and will continue to harm the habitat, and should be opposed. Additionally, in response to the Manatee County comments about residents being involved, I don't feel like those were addressed. We're still not involved in this process. Thank you.
Next up, we have Don Popovich, followed by Zena Connor, then John Schuessler.
Hello, my name is Don Popovich. I'm a resident of the Uplands. I'm here to clearly state my strong opposition to the proposed platform in the Uplands Preserve. It's good to see that New College incorporates comments from the City of Sarasota, Sarasota County, Manatee County, and we thank those governments for clearly stating the Uplands Preserve is for passive use only. Despite that, the performance platform remains. In the plan, the platform is shown as being shifted slightly south to increase separation from the neighborhood. The image shows why it's nonsensical. The yellow rings in the image shown, 250 and 400 foot distances, it makes it clear that nearby houses are going to be blasted with sound, lighting, crowds, the setup and tear down activities that go on. The image also shows the stage location directly behind the soccer field in the front of a large, mature oak tree right in the middle of the preserve. The site is in a VE flood zone and was underwater in 2024. It'll flood again. A permanent structure here simply doesn't make any sense. Most importantly, Sarasota County's comments, the Memorandum of Understanding, the master plan itself on page 37, state the Uplands Bayfront area is a natural preserve not intended to be developed. A performance platform is neither natural or passive. It is incompatible with the preserve and with this neighborhood. I strongly urge the board to remove the performance platform from the master plan. There are other locations, primarily the Pat Neal Park. There's ample parking right next to it. It's right by the road. You won't have issues with light. You won't have issues with noise. It's there.
Next up, Zeta Connor, followed by John Schuessler, and then Andrea Zucker, excuse me.
My name is Zeta Connor, and I am a homeowner in the Uplands neighborhood. I am here today because I oppose the revised December 2025 campus master plan as it applies to the Uplands Preserve. While the plan now acknowledges that the preserve is a significant natural resource and that competitive events do not belong in a natural preserve area, it still proposes a performance platform within the preserve and allows athletic training and sports use for up to 6 years. The plan claims competitive events would end after Phase 2, but that assumes East Campus development moves forward even though the required airport agreement is not finalized. 6 years is not temporary. 6 years of lights, noise, crowds, and traffic will permanently change this preserve and this neighborhood. These uses are incompatible with passive recreation and with the quiet residential area that surrounds it. I recommend removing the performance platform and all athletic uses from the Uplands Preserve and relocating them to campus areas that are intended for active use. As an effective property owner, I formally oppose this plan and reserve my right to file a petition as an affected party.
Next up, we have John Schuessler, Andrea Zucker, then Michael Bach.
My main issue is the Federal Aviation Administration rejected the sale of, okay. My main issues is the Federal Aviation Administration rejected the sale of Sarasota Bradenton Airport land to New College by FAA letter dated April 10, 2024. The Federal Aviation Administration later rejected the Sarasota Manatee Airport Authority's appeal of that FAA rejection decision. This master plan update should acknowledge that New College, Florida cannot do new construction on the East Campus, including a baseball field, without FAA approval, which they currently do not have. The current master plan ignores this fact. The master plan should include a plan B, which assumes that New College, Florida will never own that airport land. I have two minor issues. One is that I did not find any written comments on the master plan from the Sarasota Manatee Airport Authority. Even though the East Campus is on airport land, I find that strange. And the third issue, also minor, is that a draft purchase and sale agreement between New College, Florida and the Sarasota Manatee Airport Authority was recently received by me by public records request. Article 5.6 describes a shared parking structure to be built by the Sarasota Manatee Airport Authority at a location shown on Exhibit D1 in the northwest corner of the land that New College, Florida currently leases from the Sarasota Manatee Airport Authority and would purchase if this draft purchase and sale agreement were approved by both parties and allowed by the FAA. Well, there's the parking structure. There's the auditorium.
Thank you. Next up is Andrea Zucker, followed by Michael Bach. Then we have Peter Shellhorn.
Hello, I'm Andrea Zucker. I've got many connections to New College. I'm an alum from 1970. I've lived in the Uplands since 1972, and I'm an Uplands homeowner. And after finishing my PhD, I worked at the New College Wellness Center as a staff psychologist. I am going to talk about the plan for the performance platform. I don't need to repeat what people already said, but what I want to say is that I'm very aware, and I bet the administration is too, of the relationship there is to the amount of green space on a campus and mental health of the students, reduction in depression, and even a reduced suicide rate. Green space is exactly what it sounds like. It's space with no man-made structures. There is almost no space left on the bayfront like that. I don't really see much advantage in putting a performance platform in this pristine, natural, last sanctuary of quiet on the New College campus when there are other options. There is already a performance platform by College Hall where there are washrooms and lighting and parking. I am asking that the administration reconsider that part of the plan, as once green space is gone, it is almost impossible to rebuild in its natural form. Thank you.
Next up, we have Michael Bach, followed by Peter Shellhorn, and then Kevin Spence.
Good afternoon. Good afternoon, trustees and chairman. I am a high school teacher in the area and a resident of the Uplands Boulevard. I have been a homeowner for several years. I grew up in the neighborhood. Many of the people in the crowd watched me grow up. Some of the faces have known me for well over 35 years. I have children in the neighborhood. I have a vested interest in the longevity of the neighborhood. This is a public institution, and it is meant to serve the public. So far, I have received no notification of the destruction of the Uplands Boulevard, the Uplands Preserve, which is across the street from my house. There was a blue wall placed in front of my house, which I had to stare at 6 months. There has been significant increase in traffic and noise. My security cameras regularly pick up noise well over 70 decibels, which is going against our noise ordinance in the county. There's no honor to the memorandum that was given by this institution to our neighborhood, to the lands that was donated by someone in our neighborhood. The land was donated that it would be used for passive recreation. It has not been used for passive recreation, and I would ask that this body reinstate that memorandum of understanding and reinstate this understanding that the land would be used for passive use. And I really ask that this property at 6201 Boulevard should not be further altered. We should not have a podium. The permanent land or the permanent building that was to be placed, I am within 250 feet of that building. I'm already listening to loud noise. It's just going to continue. It's just going to get worse. And if it doesn't, if nothing is done, it should be a warning to any donors to the school that if you donate, your donations and stipulations may not be honored. And we've seen how the board can shift from right to left in the past. Thank you.
Next up, we have Peter Schellhorn, then Kevin Spence.
I rise as an advocate for the Uplands Preserve and Uplands Boulevard. These rare resources deserve to be protected for the long run. We in the Uplands have believed that they would be protected as outlined in the existing master plan, but alarm bells started going off when the first version of the new master plan was released, in which the Mammoth Freedom Institute was slated to occupy half of the preserve. Our concerns were further aggravated when over 100 trees were uprooted to build a sports field in clear contravention of the master plan. We fought back. Some of our concerns have been addressed in the proposed master plan, including relocating the Freedom Institute, but there are still loose ends. Consider, for example, the restrictions on the use of Uplands Boulevard is largely a good faith verbal agreement between neighbors and Richard Corcoran. What is to prevent the abuse of the emergency access provision when he is gone? Some of the inaccuracies in the drawings have been corrected in the red line version, others have not. For example, a glaring inaccuracy exists at the north end of Uplands Boulevard. The location of lift station 137. It exactly lines up with the end of the road. It is unmistakable and it is critical to the operation of the sewer system of Manatee County. But page 110 of the new master plan shows the lift station many feet to the east of the actual location. Why would the drafters of the plans go to the trouble to show a critical element of infrastructure in an incorrect location while labeling it existing? Could it have anything to do with the fact that it would be an obstacle to extend Uplands Boulevard to be coincident with the road that feeds the parking lot for the Freedom Institute?
Next up, we have Kevin Spence, followed by Kate Bloomquist, and then Dixon Niner.
My name's Kevin Spence. I'm an Indian member and resident at Indian Beach Sapphire Shores, and I'm a frequent user of, my wife and I bike through the uplands and the campuses frequently. And first I want to thank President Corcoran and the trustees for the improvements. There's been a lot of beauty that's been added to the campus, and the neighborhood certainly appreciates that. We aren't in objection to improvements to the campus, but there are a couple things that I wanted to mention. One, the claim of compliance with the city master plan, I fear, is a bit of a red herring. Construction detail must meet the city master plan, and so please, trustees, don't think that the city has signed off on this. That is not the case. The construction details will determine whether it's in compliance with the city master plan. Secondly, the Freedom Center, I really don't understand. There's one paragraph on what it's going to be, and to tear down pristine forest and putting a parking lot for a convention center of sorts, I just don't understand why that's necessary, and why can't it be elsewhere. I would think also it should be nearer to the campus. It's really isolated up there on the North Campus, and do something better, something more in nature, in what's natural up there. The performance platform, I agree with a number of things I've heard. I'm in the entertainment industry, and a performance platform means noise. It means people, and that's not what's supposed to happen in the uplands. I would think a better place for the performance platform might be near the residential areas. You have a nice residential corridor. Put the flat platform there. It can isolate the sound and not be a problem. But a performance platform in the uplands, it doesn't make sense to me. Lastly, I challenge the trustees in the new college to step up on stormwater. You're going to be taking up potable land. The stormwater is piped straight into the bay. Do something better and do the state of the art and make it an improvement and not a detriment. Thank you.
Next up, we have Kate Bloomquist, followed by Dixon Niner, and then Stephen Jurgensen. Okay. Next up, Dixon Niner.
As a recent graduate, I strongly question the decision to host a master plan meeting while the majority of the student body is off campus, as this severely limits students' voices. We are a college institution after all. This green spaces of this college are a mark of distinction that sets New College apart from every other institution in Sarasota. These green spaces are an amalgamation of students' hopes, education brought to fruition through years of labor. I urge the board to recognize the importance of these spaces where students of all backgrounds and disciplines come together. Because of this direct connection, I request that the board re-host this meeting so that students may use their voice on the campus they pay to use and enjoy. I yield my time to the next speaker.
Last presenter or last public commenter in person here is Stephen Jurgensen.
Good afternoon. My name is Stefan Jurgensen. I'm here as a representative of the student body and the greater New College community in my capacity as a member of the NCSA President's Cabinet. On its 4th page, the Campus Master Plan outlines New College's one-of-a-kind educational philosophy. Throughout the history of New College, 4 principles have defined the college's educational philosophy. They are as follows. 1, student-driven learning, placing the onus on students to actively shape their education and pursue their intellectual curiosity. 2, collaborative inquiry, viewing education as a dynamic partnership between engaged students and faculty in the pursuit of knowledge. 3, demonstrated mastery, recognizes and values genuine skill acquisition and understanding as the primary measure of progress. 4, in-depth exploration, encouraging students to delve deeply into their chosen fields and conduct significant independent work. On the very next page, there is a section dedicated to making clear part of the document's mission, historic preservation. On these grounds, I formally request, on behalf of the New College community, that the Caples Educational Gardens and Native Plant Restoration Area be officially recognized and designated in the master plan document. Furthermore, I ask that these both be codified under the umbrella term campus green space. Both of these spaces have deep historical significance. The Caples Educational Gardens, first established in 1995, have been the center of 3 decades of student collaborative learning, intellectual exploration, and philosophical development. As my anthropology professor explained, the role of community gardens as keystone cultural sites cannot be overstated. It was, in fact, at so-called garden parties that the ancient Greek intellectuals we base our educational model on exchanged their foundational ideas on life and the human condition. Since their founding, the Caples Gardens have expanded to include 3 distinct yet intricately connected systems: the organic garden, the pollinator ecology garden, and the food forest and carbon farm. Each with their own history and related thesis/ISP documents, they have been and must continue to be.
That's been 2 minutes. We had a malfunction on the time clock.
The previous speaker yielded his time to me. I have 3 minutes.
Madam Chair. Madam Chair.
No, we're not doing that.
He could not yield time. Otherwise, you could have someone yielding.
Yes, so your time is up. Thank you.
He yielded his time, ma'am.
Yeah, it's okay.
Yes.
Yes, thank you.
Please codify our green spaces.
Thank you. Okay. Do we have anybody that's asked to be heard on Zoom? Can you recognize them, Ms. Christie?
Yes.
Fitzpatrick. So they'll have the same 2 minutes, and you'll state their name and then call the next one.
Yes, anyone that's online, if you could raise your hand, please, your virtual hand online, and we will go in order and unmute you. First up, we're going to go with Juliana Parr. I'm sorry, Caroline Consortis.
Can you hear me okay?
Yes, go ahead, Caroline.
This is Caroline Barker. I'm an alum from Valley 3, and I'm an alum society
Thank you. Next up, we have Juliana Parr.
Thank you. Can you hear me?
Yes, go ahead.
Thank you. My name is Juliana Parr. I am a alum of New College and a faculty member at the Johns Hopkins University, speaking here in my capacity as an individual. Despite the legalistic arguments provided at the outset of this hearing from General Counsel Galvano's practice, I urge you trustees to pause and exercise your fiduciary duty of care. The proposed argument rests on the contention that this is an amendment as opposed to something much more substantive. Can you really consider these changes to be simply an amendment? The new plan includes a baseball field and stadium for teams and an athletic program that did not exist when the first plan was made. Inclusion of an entire new type of land use is not an amendment, it's a fundamental and substantive change. It includes a massive building on the bay which will require significant parking and access. The environmental considerations alone are enough to establish this as a fundamental and substantive change of the relationship of the college's use and sensitive environmental conditions. Trustees, as you cannot possibly be confident that all of the numerous and substantive changes could be reasonably considered just an amendment, you must consider that you are likely to be in violation of your fiduciary duty of care if you vote to approve. I urge you to act responsibly, be voices of reason and curiosity, don't your other stance. Give yourselves the time to thoughtfully, purposefully, and responsibly review the new and substantially changed plan. Acknowledge that these are not simply amendments, but an entire right return to a very different new college. Give students the opportunity to substantively interact, rather than holding a meeting in a cowardly time frame when students are not here. Thank you.
Thank you, everybody. Thank you, trustees. This concludes the public meeting. We've run over, but we were able to get in the comments of the people that signed up and the people on Zoom. So trustees, you can stay on Zoom, and